Welcome to Inquiry Theory. I'm Micah.
And I'm Ethan.
And as you can see, Ethan is here today.
I am here today.
Yes.
Sorry for my absence.
Could not join us for the Trump executive order. Go watch it. Pretty good.
I'll go watch it.
Yeah, you should. He had to watch it because he wasn't here. So, anyway, yeah, we're doing another Navigate the Noise. This one, Ethan got super excited for.
I'm so excited.
Why were you excited for this one, Ethan?
Because, man, we've been planning, doing this podcast forever, and I've wanted to cover COVID-19, and you haven't let me.
No, because I was like, there's a time and place for everything.
It's been too controversial.
Not anymore. So, what we're getting into is there is an article on Ground News where we like to find our Navigate the Noises. Ethan, since you're so excited for this, what does that headline say?
The headline says, the CIA now favors lab leak theory on the origins of COVID-19. Yes!
So I felt like we could talk about it.
Called it.
Ethan's over here on Sports Kings betting app.
No, I use.
I just made $500. Who had CIA thinks lab leak theory is true? I did. Payout.
So I put my whole paycheck down on that.
Yeah. Yes. So according to these articles,
I use FanDuel, by the way.
FanDuel. Okay. Yeah. Not affiliated. 401 articles and counting so far. Yeah, the CIA now favors lab leak theory.
So that's interesting.
Yes.
Yep.
So there's quite a few interesting things about it. We read the Newsweek article.
Mm-hmm.
Newsweek kind of more center, high factuality. We took that. Yeah. So a couple of things about it.
So my whole thing from just reading over the article is that the CIA, they took a stance, but they also don't want to say they're taking that stance for real.
They're
still on the fence.
Everyone is like, hey, we think it's a lab leak now, but
we don't want to say it, but they're saying it.
So basically, there's a couple of ways you can look at this. So to give you the quick rundown,
Mm-hmm.
CIA, basically, they got a new director, John Ratcliffe. He's come forward and declassified. This is where I find it interesting because, he can come forward and say that it's a lab leak theory, but the fact that he came forward and declassified actual files about it that say they think it's a lab leak theory.
Kind of says that he thinks it's a lab leak
so
theory.
He thought personally it was. He said that for years, but now he's declassified documentation that shows that under the Biden administration, the CIA thought it was a lab leak theory.
Yep.
Now, they do give it a caveat of it was low confidence in this report.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever wrote up the report, this classified report, they clearly were like, well, we don't have a lot of evidence to say that it's a lab leak theory, but from what we've seen and gleaned, we think it's a lab leak. It makes more sense.
And coming from a person who does not work in the CIA, who I feel like are a little bit more educated in foreign affairs than I am, if they don't think it is, it probably is.
So, digging into a little bit, China has responded and thinks its claims once again since the beginning. It's absolutely crazy that that there's no lab leak. Of course, it's from nature.
So they didn't even say it was from nature. They said it's not a lab leak.
Oh yeah, true. They in this article they just were like,
so
it's not a lab leak.
China, of course, is denying the whole thing.
China's over here,
as they should.
Like, it's not a lab leak. Where's it from? Not a lab.
Not our lab, though.
not a lab.
They strongly encourage the United States to not pursue.
Yes, not to investigate.
Yes.
So basically, okay. Well, we mentioned earlier low confidence. Where's this low confidence coming from? Why are they leaning lab leak? Because real quick, the CIA essentially.
I'm just gonna make a joke real quick.
Okay. Yeah.
I kind of see China as the 5-year-old who put their hand in a cookie jar.
Yeah.
and doesn't want the parents to know.
Where'd the cookie go? I don't know, but I didn't eat it.
I didn't eat it, but it went somewhere. Anyways.
So,
Sorry. I had to say that.
So basically, I think this is huge because the CIA is the official stance for a while was from the beginning of COVID was it's from nature, and anyone who claimed that it was a lab leak theory, that's what it is. It was a theory, and you're crazy. Then as time progressed, there was so here's the process of events. As it progressed, there was no evidence for it to be a from nature thing. There was no evidence of that to begin with, to start with. There's no evidence. Now there's no evidence of the lab leak thus far, at least no out there evidence. The reason the CIA came to their conclusion that they think it's a lab leak is because so scientists are saying this is from nature, okay? That it jumped from bats to animal to something to us.
No, from bats to soup to human.
Well, they believe the prevailing theory among scientists is it went bats to other animals to then us, not just directly from bats to us.
I swear I heard something.
No,
I
dude,
swear
with
I heard
how much
I heard something about soup.
Bat soup, yeah. No, with how much was going on and how crazy the topic is, it's tough to find the actual like facts and stuff. But but what this article is saying is that the prevailing theory is bats to animals somewhere along the line to us. But here's the thing is the scientists who have all been looking for it have not found that link.
Right.
For the years they've been looking now, they haven't found it. And they're trying to find it. So this is where the critical thinking aspect kind of comes into play.
Right, exactly. So if like being China, right, if it were a lab leak, you wouldn't want us to know.
You wouldn't want them. You wouldn't.
You would think that they would want us to find the bat soup.
So that's where you weigh. It's like, okay, lab leak theory and nature theory. The nature theory is, you've got people searching for it. You've got the scientists out there looking. China's probably out there trying to push it too. Yeah. Like they're like, we've really got to find this one animal that caused it. Like,
it was the soup, I swear.
We got to find that link. Yeah. And they haven't found it. But the lab leak theory doesn't rely on that piece of information, because if you think about it, okay, well, yeah, true. There's no evidence that it's a lab leak yet. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, where is the lab in China? Is China really going to let an actual investigation go into whether the lab leaked it or not?
No.
Like, come on. Do you trust that China is going to be honest about that investigation? If they even do one? No. They're not going to be honest. Why would they?
And think about it this way. We wouldn't either. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like we would.
What do you mean?
Like if we were China.
Oh, yeah. No,
like we wouldn't be like, oh yeah, come investigate our labs. You know?
No.
And like, so if keeping that in mind, it's probably a lab leak.
Yes. So well, yeah. it's a little in that when you break it down like what we just did, they haven't found the link, and that's not saying there isn't a link. It's not, because the absence of evidence is not evidence.
Mm-hmm.
But when you compare that to how easy it would be for China to cover up an investigation,
it does lead to a little bit of suspicion.
It does, yeah. It leads to suspicion. You have to. You cannot say without any reason of doubt. You can't say one or the other. Like both of them. So the article.
That's where common sense and critical thinking come into play.
Exactly. So the article is really heavily trying to say that we don't know for sure, because I think for the vast interest of everybody involved, a lot of people don't really want it to be solved.
I want it to be solved.
We do, but I'm saying like
I got $500 on this.
So
yeah, it was on DraftKings.
Oh, okay, yeah. So people want it. So people want it. We want to know, but I'm saying like the media who's pushing that the nature theory, China, like all these people, like they don't want it to be concluded that it was a lab leak. So of course they're going to push the other one, and then of course you've got people who will always think the opposite. Whatever, they won't trust anything. In my opinion, I think it's a little more lab leak. And so, but let's do a critical thinking exercise, mm-hmm. and let's compare and let's consider both. So
compare and contrast.
Yeah. So for example, what would it mean if it came from nature? What would that mean?
Well, it would mean that some random virus popped up out of nowhere.
Yes.
Right. Which viruses do evolve?
Yep. So it would have evolved from the coronavirus that they knew of mm-hmm. already. So they knew of it, but it would have had to evolve from nature and jump from nature to humans, and that would call for probably you would want obviously you want to reform a lot of plans and like into pandemic planning. Obviously you want to do that, which I mean they're doing regardless. That's good for regardless of where it originates, but you would then change your protections. For example, like if it came from nature to a wet market to humans, you would then want to be stricter on wet markets.
What's a wet market?
Wet market, that's kind of like a open air like butcher. They've got a ton of animals there, and they're kind of cleaning them and cutting them up and selling the meat there, like processing it right there.
Okay.
And you go to this market, and I mean, it's there. If you've ever seen one, I've seen a few. Obviously,
Sounds
not
gross.
in person. It's a little dirty, which is why if it did come from nature, I could see it coming from nature from a wet market. Like
that makes sense.
That's where transmission could happen. I could see that.
I also feel like we could find it if that's where it came from.
Yeah, unless China burned the entire wet market to the ground.
Which they probably would.
Yes. So anyway, it would probably change. You're looking at more stricter regulations on these wet markets. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Right.
This is what a civilized country should do. You'd want to look at because like I said, there's overlap between. It doesn't matter where it comes from. They're gonna renew pandemic stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But you crack down on different locations and spend the money in different locations. That being said, what do you think it would look like if it was lab leak?
Well, I don't understand the question.
So like we looked at if it's from nature, kind of expanded what that would mean. Because real quick, why does it matter where it came from? We need to kind of talk about why it matters where it came from.
So it matters where it came from because if it came from a lab, you're experimenting with a virus that killed how many people?
Millions.
Millions of people, right?
Across
so if you're experimenting with a virus that does that, you should probably be a little bit more safe with it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It calls into question again, which is why the U.S. has signed all sorts of different stuff. We're not going to go into what everything the U.S. has signed about not funding. What's that called? Gain of function research.
Gain of function.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't want to sign off on gain of function research. I mean, people argue all the time that gain of function research benefits because it lets you be more aware of the virus and figure out countermeasures to it. But at the same time, you wouldn't need those countermeasures if you weren't investigating it in the first place.
Right.
Depending on the situation. So
have they done gain of function research on cancer?
I don't know. What I would because I feel like that's a rabbit hole.
It probably is a rabbit hole.
So to keep these sweet and short to the point, gain of function research, if it came from
come back to that
eventually one day, if it came from a lab, then clearly, like you said, you're gonna have redo probably the safety regulations. You'd hope they would at least containment protocols, all that type of stuff.
Right. The regulations need to be better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because a lot of people are probably asking themselves, why does it even matter where it came from? It got out anyway, or it came out and it was affected and it ran all that stuff.
It matters because
it matters. Yeah, it matters because you might have a country who caused this versus this naturally occurring.
Right. Now, if they had nefarious intentions is another question, but the fact that it got released into the public is the issue.
Yeah.
Right. So if you had better regulations and better overwatch and everything, point is it was preventable, right?
Yeah, it could have been.
It was a preventable pandemic if it was a lab leak. Yeah. That's the most important point.
Yeah. So, will we ever know where it came from? Probably not.
Will we ever know if it was intentionally released? Probably not. Yeah. But those are both two questions to ask.
Yeah. So it's important when you see an article like this, not to take it, just the headline
for face value.
Yep. Yeah. You gotta navigate the noise you hear all around it. Read past the headline, dig deeper, because if you just read CIA now favors lab leak theory and origins of COVID-19 without reading the article, you see that you're like, oh crap, the U.S. government just approved that it was completely a lab leak theory and China's to blame and all this stuff. And when you read the article, it goes, well, no, actually, they favor that theory, but They came to it from, it's still a toss-up. They don't know for certain. China, and you have to do a little more digging and critical thinking on the actual article than just reading the headline. Because
Right.
from the headline to what you read in the article, it's almost two different stories, I'd say. I would
Definitely.
argue.
And like anybody who wants to look into this article, I feel like you would come to the same conclusion that we're coming to.
Yep. So, quick little snippet there. Navigate the noise.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah, we navigated it.
Yeah, I think we navigated pretty well.
Yeah.
So, if you guys have your own theories, I don't know if I'm bold enough to go, what do you think it was? Let us know in the comments below if you're Team Lab Leak or Team Nature.
I think it came out of an elephant's butt.
Yeah. See? I'm not going to say that, but let us know your thoughts, any of your thoughts in the comments below. We encourage you to dig into the news and dig into this stuff coming out now. So,
yeah.
Thank you for watching and listening, and hit the like, share, subscribe, do the things, and we appreciate you taking your time to hopefully, be entertained a little bit.
Can't wait for the next COVID-19 article.
Oh man,
so excited.
Yeah, I feel like we just barely scratched the surface of your COVID-19 obsession.
I'm obsessed.
We'll hit it one of these days.
Yep. It's going to be great.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, Mom.